Michael's introduction of Tanya.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael. My street nickname is Irish, and I'm very proud to say that I'm a registered nurse. I work at a local hospital. I'm also a street medic for Freedom Street Health. Whoop up for Freedom Street. The person I'm going to introduce you to, it's been an absolute honor to get to know this girl. I'm also a decades-long trade union activist for the record, and I'm only speaking on my behalf, not on my union's behalf, when I say that I am a member of the M&A and a steward with the Minnesota Nurses Association, speaking my own personal opinion. I first met Tanya at a union event, and we immediately connected. She's from India, and I'm an Irishman. We mutually had an instant hatred for British imperialism and capitalism. It was immediate, and we connected immediately. This young lady, for the record, was fired from her job for daring to speak on behalf of Palestine. I will very happily say the people that did that firing no longer work at that particular institution on a leadership level. Absolutely. So it is, and by the way, you guys, this woman here, the Zionists want people like this woman to be quiet. God help them. This woman has refused to be quiet. She's now working in another union. Give it up for UFCW. And I'm so proud and happy to introduce you a wonderful, beautiful woman, Tanya Singh.
Tanya!
Get some fire, girl.
Thanks, Michael. I wrote this speech just sitting in the car because I was organizing. So this is a vigil. I will try my best to wrap everything I feel in a way that's appropriate because how I feel does not fit the vibe here. I feel rage. So my name is Tanya. I currently work at UFCW 1189 and organizing grocery store workers, and they deserve so much better. So please show them your support as we head into negotiations starting in February.
All right.
And before this, like Michael mentioned, I used to work at M&A. I was fired from M&A for supporting any and all resistance efforts of the Palestinian people against their occupation. Even if people disagree with my radical stance, that when you're choking and starving someone, you don't get to make rules about how they react towards you. I still have a right to have those beliefs without risking my employment because there's many people who have called for genocide, including many of our representatives of this beautiful, great country, and they're still in power. Yep. What I experienced at M&A was a stunning silence, not just on my termination, but also on the genocide in Gaza. I accept that being in the United States, people absorb state propaganda into their bodies like we absorb microplastics from our water. I accept that the default position of most Americans is to think that we live in a great, just, and righteous nation, and we are above the savages of the global South. If not overtly, that is the default setting of most Americans. I'm sorry, it's not about you, but everybody else. I accept that the entire media establishment from the top to the bottom have a colonial point of view because they study history and go to colleges where that colonial point of view is re-injected into their veins. I want to give a shout out to the few nurses and co-workers at M&A who went against the grain and understood my point of view even if they didn't exactly agree with it. I'm very proud of nurses like Michael, Jill LeBrun, who is our new board member at M&A, not anymore, but M&A, Jihad, Trisha Shiori, who are trying to make themselves heard on the organizational level, organize and educate rank and file nurses. And this institutional colonial bias has caused many other people around the US and Canada to be fired for supporting Palestine, even if they did it in a milder way than I did. We were the casualties of the heavy propaganda, inherent status quo beliefs instilled in Americans that Israel and we are the good guys. It's not just this propaganda. American workers have accepted the constant declining status of their economic and social rights. This decline has occurred over many decades because we continue to compromise in politics, in labor, and compromise is sold to us as something to aspire to because capitalism is worth it. It has caused us to become more isolated and it harms our overall well-being. What's a compromise between having money for war or elimination of homelessness and poverty? We eliminate half of it? Maybe that's a good compromise. And maybe we should kill some people and not everybody. I do not believe in compromise between justice and injustice. Call me a hardliner, but I am a communist. And I do not make allowances when it comes to what is just and what is not. This brings me back to healthcare workers who have organized this or are part of this. You're at the front lines of watching the worst injustice take place. The poor, impoverished, the elderly having nowhere to go, not having resources to survive, having either languishing in the streets or the emergency rooms. Mental health patients who could be receiving better care, but hospital employers and board members feel it's okay to shut mental health units down because mental health doesn't get them the money they want. While dealing with all of that, I heard the words war zone said by a lot of nurses that I organized to describe the situation in their hospitals. And I absolutely sympathized. I cried with them. And I cannot imagine being a nurse and going through that day in and day out. Now draw a straight line from that to an actual, not a war zone, but a genocide zone that is unfathomable to any of us. I don't want to imprint further devastation onto your minds because most of us have seen the videos out of Gaza provided to us by real journalists. It is unbelievable to me that organizations like Minnesota Nurses Association, healthcare facilities, employers, and many of your coworkers have not taken a stance and shown support to healthcare workers who are deliberately targeted and are suffering beyond human capacity to withstand, still providing care in the midst of a genocide. They get 200 or more people coming in with acute injuries and barely any supplies any single day. That would overwhelm any existing sophisticated healthcare system in the world. They stay back instead of looking for a safe place for themselves because they're serving their community. They refuse to leave. These healthcare workers saw their family members die while tending to other patients. These healthcare workers kept working even when they heard that their entire family was killed and now they're alone in the world. Fighting for better staffing levels would be a luxury to them. How can all of this proof, evidence, and reality not shake the indifferent souls of people no matter the propaganda? How does it not penetrate? Is there not enough blood spilled to fill the Bade-Makaska Lake? Anyways, I told you my feelings don't fit a vigil, but a riot. Now I feel angry all the time, but when I'm with people who feel angry just like I do, I find solace and hope. So thank you for being the people who showed up. You're good company, and this is cathartic. As a labor organizer, this is the part where we talk about next steps or plans to win. How many here are union workers?
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Wow, that's sad. Well, the best thing about unions is that you're tied together to fight power. The strength of your bonds is the power of your union. So if you don't have a union, unionize.
Yeah.
If you have one, start having conversations about solidarity with workers around the world, healthcare workers in Gaza. If you are having conversations with your coworkers, Make internationalism a core of your union's policy.
Yes.
Because I truly believe that the only way to save America from the inevitable ruin is workers coming together. And not in a milquetoast way like endorsing Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton's of the world, but build to a level where war and injustice is a strike issue.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's my girl.
As consumers in America, we can boycott. As business owners, we can divest. As citizens in America, we can protest and riot. But as workers, when we decide to withhold our labor and risk our economic security in solidarity with the colonized workers, only then we can bring this perpetual war machine to a halt.
Yeah.
We build towards that. It's really long term. And the day American workers strike against war, the entire world will heal. I'll end this. Che Guevara, one of my heroes, he said, "I envy you. You North Americans are very lucky. You are fighting the most important fight of all. You live in the belly of the beast."
One more round of applause for Tanya. Thank you.